Hi, I'm Jennifer Sir. Welcome to the Sewing Room and our Jobs in Fashion series. Today, we're talking with Julie Katzenberger about the job of quality assurance. Julie learned to sew because she couldn't find clothes that fit. She ultimately turned that problem into a career in the fashion industry. Starting as a pattern maker, then technical designer, Julie eventually made her way into the world of quality assurance and product integrity. Responsible for everything from developing quality clothing with designers to inspecting finished garments in distribution centers before they're shipped to stores, Julie is involved in the complete product life cycle of fashion. Quality includes a wide range of disciplines, including testing fabrics to be sure they perform as customers expect, to making sure children's wear complies with state, local, and federal regulations. Julie believes quality is essential to customer satisfaction, and she loves the quote from Henry Ford, "Quality means doing the right when no one is looking." Hi, Julie. Welcome to the Sewing Room, and thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer. It's really great to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you started working in the quality assurance product integrity realm?
Well, I was a tech designer for a lot of years. I got into tech design, which is how things fit and how they're made, because I couldn't find clothes that fit me. And then that was kind of a natural transition into quality assurance and product integrity. Product integrity is kind of a bigger umbrella that includes quality assurance and tech design.
Right.
And as I was working primarily as I worked with children's wear, there are a lot of laws and regulations you have to learn about how to produce kids stuff. And I just kind of gobbled it up and learned all the quality things that go with that. And when an opportunity came along, I jumped at it. I did my grad school internship in a textiles lab. So I've done a lot of the testing. And I worked for one of the labs as an account executive for a little while. So I've had bits and pieces of it here and there.
That's great. What are the disciplines that QA encompasses?
So everything from working with a designer to make sure that they're using the right kind of seam for the fabric they've chosen and getting it designed right from the very beginning, all the way to the very end where garments come into the warehouse and before you ship them to stores, you inspect them or you work with the people that inspect them. So it really encompasses the entire product life cycle. The first, getting it designed right results in a high quality style, and the last, inspecting goods after they've already been produced results in sorting out the bad stuff from the good stuff.
And then what happens in the middle?
In the middle, you work with tech design to review samples. You work with the design team. They bring you in for line review, and you look everything over and you say, yes, this is great, or you might want to put a different kind of stitch here to make it more secure. To when you're working in kids wear, saying, no, you can't have those drawstrings, sorry, it's illegal. And in some cases, but especially with kids, there are things that are illegal. So you need to know those kinds of things. You also work with a third-party company often that will go to your factory and do inspections for you while the product is being made and while it's being packed up, so that you don't run into problems once it gets to your warehouse.
That's great. What about fabric testing? So you were talking about that a little bit. What does that encompass?
So you want to test everything from, is the color going to stay put when you wash it, to is this kind of seam, if you pull on it, if you sit down in a pair of pants made with this fabric and this seam, is it going to rip? If you wash it, is it going to shrink? So there are tests for all of these different things, and there are two organizations that are the most common for setting up really great testing standards. And one is the American Association of Textile Chemists and Colorists, AATCC, and the other is ASTM, American Society of Testing and Materials. And I belong to both of those, so I get a lot of good resources from them.
That's wonderful. At what point in the production process does a QA specialist step in?
Well, the sooner the better. Let's design it right from the start. One company I worked with, they wanted to make a silver kids jacket. But it needs to be washable because kids need to be able to wash it. So where do we find a silver fabric that's durable enough and washable? So they worked with their factories to source a bunch of different fabrics. I took them, I tested them, which meant washing them under standard conditions. And I was able to find a couple of different fabrics that worked for them. And the jacket became a bestseller. So you can do it right at the beginning. I've also been involved at the end. Well, there's a company I'm working with now on some sleepwear. They didn't know that there were laws about children's sleepwear and certain measurements for cotton sleepwear. It has to be tight fit, has to have certain measurements. Well, they were designing it all wrong. They had the wrong measurements. They contacted me to say, what kind of testing do we need? And I said, you have to start over.
Wow.
So it's costing them time and money.
Yeah. So with the kids wear, it's all because of safety, right?
Right. There are a lot of safety rules for kids, and they vary by country. So if you're exporting to different countries, there are different regulations. The US, the tightest regulations are for sleepwear, kids' sleepwear. And that could be a whole separate seminar.
Right. I remember that from working in Baby Gap, and
Yes.
it was definitely an issue. Okay. So what are the differences between technical design, quality assurance, and product integrity?
Well, as I said earlier, product integrity is a bigger umbrella
Okay.
that encompasses all the things you want to do right about a garment. And tech design is how the garment fits, how it's made. We have fit models that come in and try on samples and make sure they're right. The tech designer gives the factory measurements and maybe a pattern and says, here, make this. We get the samples, the model tries it on, and we keep doing that until it's right. Quality assurance is adding to that the safety laws in terms of kids wear, working with tech designers to make sure the construction is going to hold up for the fabric and the style, and it all kind of works together.
That's fabulous. How does quality assurance implementation impact the garment manufacturing process?
It improves it, because if you send to the factory a production package with all of the components that they're supposed to follow for production, you're more likely to get the product you want. Components including, color standards, construction sketches, measurements, labeling. The production line has everything they need to do it right. If you've gone through the approval process and you've had some recurring problems, call those out, say, look, this came in short all the time. You have to fix it and you have to measure it. So you want to measure things while they're being produced. You want to inspect things while they're being produced so that you can catch problems early and fix them and get a better product.
Small companies need quality assurance and product integrity representative, or is it really only for bigger companies?
I think everybody needs it. Of course, I think everybody needs it. But if you're doing kids, you need it. You have to have it. And it doesn't necessarily need to be somebody that you hire. It needs to be somebody in your company that knows the rules. For example, if you're bringing goods into the United States, you need a certificate of compliance for any apparel. And you need someone that knows how to fill it out. And it could be just as simple as filling out the form that says your fabric is not flammable because it's made of these fibers and it weighs this much and it's exempt. The other extreme, as I said, is children's wear, and there's a special certificate of compliance called a children's product certificate, which talks about all the testing that it has undergone, whether it's exempt or not. And you need someone that knows how to do that, how to make sure all the correct testing is done, and how to fill out the paperwork.
Okay. And then how can our viewers find out more about being involved in this career path?
Well, I'm happy to mentor people. And I also have found a lot of seminars and workshops that I follow, some blogs. I'm mostly self-taught and learning on the job, but the associations I mentioned before, AATCC and ASTM, they offer workshops. Cotton Incorporated offers workshops, webinars, things like that. I read everything I can get my hands on. I studied textile testing in school and did some work in that field. And yeah, reach out to me if you want to know more about it.
It seems like it would be something that like designers who are just starting out would be great to get some consulting in this department just so that they know they're complying with local laws and rules. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. And I can teach you how to do it yourself, or I can do it for you.
That's fantastic. What is the best way for someone to get a hold of you and work with you?
Well, I'm not quite sure how to get this across. I have an email address. Maybe I'll just put it in the comments below the video after it's posted.
Yeah, or I can also include that in the show notes.
Perfect.
Great.
I'll send that along.
And do you have any advice for designers just starting out?
Soak up all the information you can, be creative, but think about, how you want the customer to experience the product. Yes, it needs to fit great and look pretty, but it needs to perform. It needs to last, unless it's a hair. Somebody made a gown from tissue or hair or something like that recently.
Wow.
And so, think about how you want it to last. Do you want it to be a classic piece that is around forever and ever? Or is it meant to be wear a few times and then it's done? So there are different quality standards for those things.
We're advocates of it being a forever garment, right?
We are advocates of sustainability.
Yes, absolutely. We really want it to last a long time, I think.
We do.
Have a long life cycle.
Right.
Well, Julie, thanks so much for talking with us today. And I really appreciate you being here.
It's been a pleasure. And I'm great to share the information I have.
Thank you so much. That was a great conversation with Julie. I learned so much about quality assurance and the necessity of having a quality assurance specialist during the entire product life cycle of a garment. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe. It really helps us out. And if you're interested in our fashion studies program, please visit our website at thesewingroomalameda.com/fashion-studies, all lowercase. I look forward to seeing you soon.